Welcome to Jigsaw Geek, and today I'm going to talk to you about the world of Frankenstein, this 1,000 piece puzzle by the company, I can't find it, Lawrence King Publishing Limited. Now, in the United States, I believe this is readily available. I don't know about overseas. I bought this in a Barnes & Noble. I was there with my husband and he picked out one puzzle and I picked out one puzzle. I don't normally pay full price, but it was kind of a treat. I thought to myself, I would do this puzzle and also listen to the novel as I did that. And that's what I did. I actually reviewed the novel on my Garage Geek channel. This was actually I listened to it, as I said, as I was doing the puzzle. And it was actually the second time I listened to that audio. And the voice actor who did the monster is so good when he's doing the voice of the monster. I highly recommend it. This puzzle box is gorgeous. They actually have some things to look for as you're doing the puzzle. It's really cool. And then when you open the puzzle box, it's a really nice box. It's going to be a shame to throw this away. I might use it to send somebody something. But they give this gorgeous poster of the puzzle. And I actually didn't use the poster, although I should have, because when you actually look at the puzzle box, the whole image is there, but the details are so small. It's really tiny when, if you're looking at the box to try to find something. Oh yeah, forgive the state of my hair. It's Sunday morning and I haven't showered yet. TMI, right? But anyways, so this puzzle is great. Better than that is on the back. They have all these things that are numbered, parts of the probably the novel and the movie. And then they have notes over here. So after I'm done with showing you the time lapse and talking over that, I'm actually going to show for example, when number 13, I'm going to zoom in on the puzzle number 13 or on the poster, and then I'm going to read what it says here. So if you're not interested in that, it goes in depth as to that part of the novel or maybe the movie. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's movie and puzzle. I think maybe it's only the movie. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's only the movie. So if you're interested in that, then please stick around for that. But if you're not, that would be a good dropping off point after the time lapse. So here we go, looking at this beautiful puzzle of Frankenstein. So of course I started with the edges, and the edges were a lot of dark, and so it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. But, there are a very finite number of pieces of edges, so got to it. But then I did something weird. I didn't initially think that I would do the center. I thought it would be the most difficult. But the white pieces just stood out. There were fewer of them than the other colors, although it is the major portion of the puzzle, the biggest one colored piece. And so I ended up doing that, and I really didn't think I would. And to be honest, once I found patterns, this was the easiest part of the puzzle. You're going to see I got that part of the puzzle done rather quickly. And then I'm filling in some of the wider parts where there's an expanse. For example, the yellow sky, the purple sky, some water pieces. These were relatively easy compared to both sides, which becomes just mired in all of these details and just so many browns that it was actually, that was the most difficult part of the puzzle. So of course what I would do is fixate on some areas that would be more easy, there were these a lot of wooden planks, although they were in different areas of the puzzle. I could do, that was a texture that I could focus on. There was also a lot of yellow areas that I could do. And then there were 3 areas of lightning, and so those were easy. There were a couple of fires. Those were easy. And honestly, I was looking at the box for a lot of this. However, when I got to the very end, I wasn't looking at the box anymore because the pieces, it would have taken more time to hunt where the piece was on the box and then to put it into place. And so I was just getting a sense of where the details went, and I was getting with the flow. But before that, I did look at the box quite a bit because there are so many details. So this is the part where I'm telling you where I'm just I'm not looking at the box. I am just putting the pieces in, and I would have to try them in 2 or 3 different spots. But overall, this was the easiest part of the puzzle. And you can see that, the pieces are just going in. And this was a really fun part of the puzzle. And as I'm going to tell you in a little while, this was a really, really fun puzzle to do. And I really highly recommend this puzzle for everyone. So now that you watched the time lapse, let's go ahead and talk about the puzzle. That's upside down. This is what the puzzle looks like when it's completed. And I'm not going to, spend a long time on this because I'm actually going to zoom in, with the numbered part on the poster. But I just want to say that doing this puzzle felt like an elegant premium experience. Holding the pieces of this puzzle, they were not overly thick, but they were really nice and thick pieces. They just felt nice. And this stood the challenge of picking it up. I was able to pick this up and flip it over to put the tape on. And I'm always worried to do that because I've had some puzzles break. But this one stayed together as I flipped it. And so I was very happy. And like I said, the art on this is beautiful. The pieces felt so nice to hold. It just felt like a premium puzzle experience. This box is beautiful. The poster is amazing. I mean, for $20, I think I paid either $17 to $20 for this puzzle. Oh yeah, here's the price on it. It's actually $21.99. Can you see it? Where is it? Let me point to it. Oh, right there. $21.99 US. Since I was using this as an inspiration to listen to the book again, then I thought that would be worth the purchase. But wow, this puzzle feels premium. And they have others in this series. I know there's one about Dracula. I think there's one about Jane Austen, all of her novels into one like kind of pastiche. I'm looking forward to doing more of these just because they feel so nice. And it was so much fun with the artwork. Okay, so let me stop gushing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the back of this. And as I do that, I will be showing the image. So this would be a good dropping off point if you're not really interested in hearing more about the novel. This text is by so the artist is Adam Simpson. So good job, Adam. And the text is by Roger Luckhurst. So let's go ahead and listen to that. Origins. Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, 1818, a classic of Gothic literature, was written by Mary Shelley, 1797 to 1851. The daughter of the feminist Mary Wollstonecraft and the radical and anarchist William Godwin. She began writing it when she was still a teenager, and the vision of a scientist birthing a monstrous creature is sometimes thought to relate to Mary's early traumatic experience as a teenage mother who would lose all but one of her children in infancy. Well, that's sad. The origins of the story are legendary. In 1816, Mary had eloped from England with her lover, the scandalous romantic poet Percy Shelley. They stayed on Lake Geneva, where the novel is mainly set, and frequently visited Lord Byron at the Villa Diodati. Byron was another poet and notorious libertine living in exile from England for his shocking private life. On a very stormy night in July 1816, the group met together with Byron's doctor, William Polidori, and Byron's lover, Claire Claremont, Mary's half-sister, and scared each other silly reading from a collection of German short stories, Phantasmagoriana. Ooh, I'd like to look that up. This was a collection of what was called shock literature, a sensational horrors that were denounced as terror novels in England and what we would now term Gothic romances. The group decided to compete to create their own horror stories. Although Lord Byron, Percy Shelley, and Polidori only produced fragments, Mary Shelley began to compose what was eventually finished as Frankenstein. It was published as a novel in 1818 and initially presumed to be the work of her husband. The first London stage adaptation was in 1823, and by the time Mary Shelley revised and republished it in 1831, Polidori had committed suicide in 1821, but not before inventing the alluring aristocratic vampire and his tale, The the vampire, spelled with a Y. Percy Shelley had drowned off the coast of Italy in 1822, and Byron had died of a violent fever preparing to fight for Greek independence in 1824. The novel. Frankenstein is subtitled The Modern Prometheus, suggesting an update on the Greek myth of the upstart Prometheus who steals fire from the gods and is subjected to awful punishment. It also echoes the Jewish legend of the golem, a creature fashioned by a master it then turns against. The novel is told from multiple perspectives, including a long section spoken by the monster. Boris Karloff fixed the image of the creature as a murderous, rampaging monster in the famous Universal Studios film adaptation in 1931, but in the book, he is an agonized soul made monstrous by lack of human sympathy. Roger Walton's framing narrative. The story begins with a ship stuck in the Arctic ice, with Walton on board. The crew rescue a near-dead Victor Frankenstein from the ice. Because Victor sees a burning ambition in Walton, he decides to confess to him the horrific story of how he came to be on the ice as a stark warning. Victor's narrative. Victor is the eldest boy in a loving family. His parents adopt Elizabeth and Justine as a nanny for his younger brother William. All will meet awful fates. Frankenstein is a gifted student, but his studies become esoteric and strange, and focused in particular on the question of how life is created. Mary and Percy Shelley were fascinated by medical and electrical science at a period when some radicals argued blasphemously that the vital spark of human life was merely an electrical pulse rather than the work of God. Victor's studies led to his building a laboratory where he assembles a creature from body parts gleaned from different cadavers and brings it to life in the midst of an electrical storm. Victor is momentarily triumphant before his joy turns to revulsion. The creature escapes from the lab, and Victor presumes it gone from his life. The creature's story. Mary Shelley shifts the focus to this newborn creature struggling to understand itself. It hides in the forest and lives on berries. It tries to make contact with villagers, but they are clearly appalled by its appearance. Then, deep in the forest, the creature finds comfort hiding near the college of the DeLacy family. It learns human speech from them, finds companionship with a blind old man, and learns to read and write by studying books it discovers in a lost satchel. Yet when the creature sees its own reflection, it too is repulsed and begins to understand its condition as an outsider. The DeLacy family rejects the creature when it is finally seen, and it destroys the cottage in a rage. Even when it rescues a drowning girl in an act of compassion, it is shot at as a monstrous intruder. It vows vengeance on its maker, Frankenstein. It murders Victor's brother, William, and plants a stolen locket on the innocent Justine, ensuring she will be executed for the crime. There are several times the creature comes to announce its revenge to Victor. The central image of the jigsaw sees them together in a confrontation on the slopes of the Alps. They strike a horrific deal. If Victor agrees to create a female companion for the monster, his family will be left alone. The terror of these events leads Frankenstein to collapse, and he travels with his friend Henry Clerval to England to recover. Victor's narrative resumed. Victor travels alone to the Orkney Islands to commence the awful work of building the female companion. But he finds he cannot go on and destroys the gruesome work, throwing it in the sea. The creature renews the promise of vengeance. It kills Henry Clerval. I will be with you on your wedding night, it promises. Frankenstein returns home to marry Elizabeth, the adopted sister. As promised, the creature arrives and murders the bride, completing the destruction of everything Victor has loved. The book hurtles towards its end in a mad pursuit by Victor of his monstrous double, pursuing it through the mountains and into the icy wastes of the Arctic. His lasting sighting of the monster is vanishing further beyond the known world on a dog sled. Hence, the novel circles back to its beginning, with a ship finding the exhausted Victor Frankenstein on the ice and Robert Walton listening to the narrative. Robert Walton's narrative. The Arctic ice has broken up and the ship can now return south. The maddened Frankenstein begs them to head north to allow his pursuit of the monster continue. When they refuse, Frankenstein vows to leave the ship and proceed on his own. But Walton records that he awakes on the last night and finds the creature bending over the corpse of Victor. In his murder, my crimes are consummated, the creature roars, and yet is agonized with remorse. What does it avail that I now ask you to pardon me? I, who irretrievably destroyed thee by destroying all thou lovest. Alas, he is cold. He may not answer me. Victor and his creature are bound to the end in a kind of symbiotic relationship. No wonder the creator Frankenstein and his creature are often confused. Text by Roger Luckhurst. Roger Luckhurst is a writer, teacher, and editor who specializes in Gothic and science fiction literature and film. He is the editor of the Cambridge Companion to Dracula and the Oxford World's Classic Edition of Dracula, illustrated by Adam Simpson. Adam Simpson has contributed to major exhibitions around the world. He is the illustrator of the best-selling World of Shakespeare and World of Dracula jigsaw puzzles, also by Lawrence King. So I hope you enjoyed that romp through the novel and this puzzle. This is the text of what I read and showed off. I highly, highly recommend this puzzle, especially if you can find it on sale, or any, I would think, by this company, because it really did feel like an amazing experience. And it wasn't that difficult, as I stated in the time-lapse audio. So even though Halloween is over, I am going to take on the magical feat of doing this extremely difficult. I just know it's difficult already before I even start. This Frankenstein, I mean, these Mondo puzzles are beautiful. They are out of print. I did actually buy this. I bought 4 or 6 Mondo puzzles when they were having a sale, and I got them for $15 each, but I've seen them going for $60 each on like eBay or whatever. I mean, I don't think I wouldn't pay $60 for a puzzle like this, but I mean, this is a gorgeous puzzle. And Mondo is an art company, and so this is, in their vein of art. The box is gorgeous, the puzzle is going to be gorgeous, but man, this is going to be so difficult. Wish me luck, and like I said, even though Halloween is past, I am going to continue and do this puzzle. It will be my second Mondo puzzle. As always, I want to thank all of you for the support, and any comments that you leave are greatly, greatly appreciated.